Hey there! Today we're going to have a look at a pen that came in this nice and simple, humble little pen sleeve. This is the Nemosine Fission, and this happens to be the gunmetal finish. Now the quick backstory to this is, as I understand it, the Nemosine pens, at the very least these Nemosine pens, but it was a US based company, and I think the company is ceasing production of these pens. So my friend Joe's from Toronto purchased the Fissions that were left that he could find, and he sent me one to review. Now that puts me in a somewhat difficult position because I will gladly review it, but it is not so easy for you to get one. So that's just the way it is. You may be able to find one online or from other pen friends, but that's kind of the story. So these pens used to be $39.99, that's US, and they now sold for $14.99. And when I was checking out the background of these pens in that was early October, they were already gone. So it is a discontinued product, but I do think it is a nice product, and it's definitely worth showing this product off because it is a very nice pen. So what you get is a brass body and cap, so it is a pen with quite a bit of weight, in this case gunmetal plating, which I think is quite cool, but I'll try to show you that when I point the camera down. You have a Jovo nib. The nibs are tuned by Nemosine, and I will say out of the box this nib wrote very, very pleasantly. You have threads at the back to post securely, and it comes with a converter and a sleeve. So it's very simple, there's no big boxes, it's just a little sleeve and it's a pen, but the pen writes very nicely, so I don't really object to that. So here's what I'm going to do. I will cover the parts of the pen, I'll do a writing sample, and then I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like about this pen. Let's get started. In darkness let me dwell. Here we have the Nemosine Fission, and this pen comes in this cute little pen sleeve, which is exactly just that. It's a pen sleeve, and there's no box or anything, there's just this. Now if I show you this pen in comparison to a Lamy Safari, you see that the two are fairly close in size. The Safari is a little bit bigger, but not by that much, I think. And so what else do we have here? So as I said, it used to be 40 bucks, then went for 15. That's 1.5, but they are sold out now. Brass body and cap, brass barrel, gunmetal plating over it. You have the Jovo nib, which is tuned by Nemosine. It is a number 6 nib, which is very nice. And you have a converter included, a sleeve included, and you have these threads at the back to post the pen. Okay, now let's go over the parts in a bit more detail. I'll put away this Lamy. So what do we have? Well, at the top here you have a finial that is hello Hal. No, what is it? Hello Dave. Clip, the Nemosine N. It's very simple, but it works well. It's nice and springy, not too soft, not too stiff. I really like that. I think it's a good clip that's really functional. That gunmetal I think is very nice. It's a nice dark gray, which I've always really enjoyed in pen designs, and because this is a brass pen, there actually is quite a bit of weight to this, so that is really quite nice. Barrel tapers down and then has these threads, and I will be fair, no matter how I try to make this start, I can only get the clip to line up with the feed of the pen and not with the nib. Some people really enjoy it when that lines up, and I think that is aesthetically very pleasing. I couldn't do it with this pen. Then we have a section, a shiny metal. The section is ever so slightly a little hourglass shaped. It's hard to show you because it is so reflective, but it has a little bit of an indentation here, and it's very comfortable to hold. I really have to say that. As I said, it posts securely, and then it really becomes very big and also quite top heavy because it is a brass cap, so it does really all weigh quite a bit. We have the converter that is included with the pen, and that is a converter, and it works, and it's nothing fancy, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do. One thing I really liked, and this is a really strange small thing, but when I screw this barrel in place, it's metal on metal threads, and it doesn't squeak. Some pens are very squeaky, and that I always find that a little annoying, but this pen is great. Then we have the Nemosine nib, which I actually think is quite attractive. Yes, there is all sorts of ink over this, but I think it's quite nice. There is the N, and then there's all those scrolls, which I think look really neat. Number 6, Jovo nib, and then there is the simple plastic feed. And that's pretty much all there's to it. So a nice size of pen. Let's see how it writes. And I am going to do that without the pen posted, because, as I said, it is quite heavy. Okay, the Nemosine. That was a little dry, but to be fair, I've probably not used this thing for 2 weeks, and as you can see, after that initial issue, it starts up straight away. I found this a very pleasant writer. So this is the Fission, this is the broad nib, and one of the things that's very interesting about this pen line, and Nemosine in general, is that you could get many nib options, including stubs that are less than 1 millimeter wide, which is not that common to find. So that is really quite nice. The ink is Pelikan Edelstein Star Ruby, which I think is a really attractive ink, and a very nice smooth ink, flows really well. Okay. Smooth nib. I'm sorry, I'm reaching around a tripod and it's a bit reachier today than it usually is, so I'm sorry if my handwriting is terrible. Bit of fast writing. I don't see a single skip, and I don't think anyone would write at that speed, so that is quite impressive. As to the wetness of this pen, not a gusher, but it is not super dry. Line variation, not much. These are, and as always, you're of course very careful, but these are pretty stiff nibs. Another thing I would like to point out is that for a broad, I don't know if this is the broadest broad I have ever used. It's more like a medium in my mind. Okay. So in reverse, pen runs pretty dry, but I think you can maybe get away with 1 or 2, maybe 3 words, but this is not one to use in reverse mode for extended periods of time. Okay, that's pretty much all there's to it. So a nice and really pleasant writer. Let's see what I like about this and what I don't like about this. Okay, what do I like, what do I not like about the Nemosine Fission? Well, to be honest, I think it was a pretty great deal. $40 for this pen, I wouldn't mind paying that. And the reason for that is that it's a solidly made metal pen with a good Jovo nib, which Nemosine says they tune, and I can only say it writes very nicely. Another great advantage to the Nemosine brand is that, as I quickly said earlier, they have a big lineup of nibs. They even have a special left-handed nib, which I think is really nice. And there are the stubs that are less than 1 millimeter wide, which is also cool, because most stubs are, or italic nibs are, depends a bit on how they are marketed, but are 1.1, 1.3, 1.5. So if you want an italic, but you don't want a very wide line, because it doesn't suit your handwriting or whatever, you like finer nibs, Nemosine really is a cool option. However, I'm afraid that Nemosine is shutting down. And that is the big downside to this pen. Yeah, even though it's a very nice pen and I have no issues reviewing it because I thought it was very pleasing and nice to use, it's out. So you're going to have to really hunt these down. That's all I can say about it. When it comes to other negatives, well, the only thing that I can really come up with is that I think it's a shame that the nib and clip don't align when you use the threaded posting. Maybe that is a matter of me fiddling around with it more. But no matter how I screw in the section, no matter how I screw in the cap for the posting, I just can't make them line up. So that's all there's to it. Having said that, again, it's a beautiful writer, and I'm very appreciative of Joe's for sending me one, because it's lovely, a lovely writer. So thank you very much. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.